Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another tribute video, and this time it's for Rick Derringer. At the time of me doing this video, I've only just found out that Rick has sadly passed away, so I haven't had a chance to really gather my thoughts together or think about what I wanted to say here. So I've just grabbed a bunch of records off the shelf, and I'm just going to talk about what Rick's music and guitar playing meant to me. And when I do any of these tribute videos, they're always dedicated to the family, in particular to Genda Derringer and all the fans of Rick Derringer's music from around the world. Those of you who know Now Spinning Magazine and know me know that Rick Derringer is one of my favourite musicians and guitar players. I did a video with Martin Popoff where we looked at whether Rick Derringer was the bridge between Ronnie Montrose and Eddie Van Halen, because I always felt that Rick Derringer's guitar playing, and the fact, a bit like Leslie West, he's not just a guitar player, he's also a fantastic vocalist and songwriter. But I always felt that he was kind of missed out in some ways, as everyone was looking towards guitarists that played, very flashy and all the rest of it. And I felt that we had Montrose, and then we had Eddie Van Halen, on the Warner Brothers with Ted Templeman. And I always felt that in between, people kind of forgot that Rick was there. An album, Live in Cleveland by Derringer, features a guitar solo, which I just wonder whether Eddie Van Halen was in the audience somewhere making notes. It's just amazing just how fluid and ferocious Rick's playing could be. This is a very humbling thing to be doing, because as I kind of looked around and started to just pick up these records off the shelf, it made me realise that of all the guitarists from the other side of the pond where I am in the UK, how many of them, are my favourite guitar players, are actually no longer with us. Leslie West, Tommy Bolin, Ronnie Montrose, Eddie Van Halen, Johnny Winter, Duane Allman, obviously Jimi Hendrix. Now, some of those were kind of like lost in the rock and roll lifestyle, perhaps, but many of them now aren't. And it makes you very aware of your own fragility and stuff. And also the other thing that does that for me is that I had two friends who were just huge fans of Rick Derringer and who kept pushing me towards this absolutely amazing musician. One was Paul Cook, who was the drummer in one of the bands I was with, Tantrum, and he sadly passed away. And Brian James, another great guitarist from Birmingham I used to hang around with in the Costermongers, and he sadly passed away as well. And one of the things that they kept saying to me was that, Phil, this guy is also a producer. You'll notice that his name has appeared all over the place. And I realised that albums that were some of my favourites, like Edgar Winter Band, They Only Come Out at Night, he was behind that. Now, Ronnie Montrose is on that, but Rick Derringer was already using his skills as a very young guy. I think in the Coys he was about a teenager, 16 or whatever. But this is where I came into him, really. And Edgar Winter's White Trash, this live album. And again, there he is, Rick Derringer. And the other album around this time which is an absolute classic and so worth listening to, is like Johnny Winter and the live one. It's a rough and ready live album with Johnny Winter, and obviously Johnny Winter takes the lion's share of the soloing at this point. But Rick Derringer is also equally on fire. And this one of the first albums, I think, this is 1970. So I've shown you, they only come out in 1972. This is 1970. And the other one, I think, when I really started to realise, I'm in the UK, and I'm into Richie Blackmore, and he's wearing all these satin shirts and trousers and looking, moody and all the rest of it, but and like a rock star. And in the UK, we've got Slade and T-Rex, and we're into glam and everything. And in 1974, this album by the Edgar Winter Band group, Shock Treatment, comes out. And just look at the guys on the back, and look at Rick here. He's gone from looking literally 10 years older than this on the Johnny Winter Band to looking like he's about 16 again in 1974. And this is an absolutely tremendous album. It really is. And he made quite a few albums with Edgar Winter. There's another one called Edgar Winter with Rick Derringer. And if I want to point you towards things you should buy, then there's these two little box sets. One's called Joyride, which is a solo album from 73 to 1980. And also Derringer, which is the complete Sky albums, 1976 to 1978. And I'm going to point out some of those now, really, because this is really where I started to really appreciate Rick's, not just his guitar playing. It's a bit like Leslie West. I was drawn to, I think, Rick's playing and singing is because, although I love guitarists like Blackmore, Page and Iommi, I am drawn towards musicians, guitarists who actually sing as well. And I think it's because I feel that they have almost an advantage that as they've written the song, so the melody, the words, what it's about, what it means to them, and they're singing in that frame of mind. So when they do the guitar solo follows their emotion, the emotive feel of the song, because they are the same person who sung it. They are the same person who wrote the words. So they're not interpreting someone else's stuff. They're interpreting their own feeling. And instead of using the words like they've done in the verse and the choruses, they're using the instrument to reflect that in a way through just music. And I think that was one of the things I really picked up. And one of the, as I said, the records are just all around me. So please bear with me. I haven't organised any of this. Will be this one. And I guess if I point to any album for you to go off and listen to, because when I do these tribute videos, I'm not just presuming. I'm talking to people who've been Rick Derringer fans for about 50 years. I know some of you might be there even longer than that, because I actually was too young at one point. Some of you might be fans for 20 years or 15, but some of you are just starting to see this news break and you want to know more about it. So what I want to try and do is just gently point you towards things to help you maybe celebrate Rick Derringer's musical career and music and get a feel for it, and then go off down a rabbit hole in your own time. But this is 1973, and when the record label, I think Epic, saw him as, as a pop star, really. But there's some, and of course, I should have mentioned it before because it's already appeared on a Johnny Winter album twice, is Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. I guess that's probably one of his most well-known songs. To me personally, it's not the one I played the most, but it's probably one of his most well-known classic rock classics. Joyride is a great instrumental. Teenage Queen, Cheap Tequila, Uncomplicated, Hold, The Airport, Gibbeth, Slide Over Slinky, Jump, 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 which is fantastic. And there's a great live version I'll point out in a minute. Teenage Love Affair is a great single. And Time Warp is also a brilliant instrumental. This, to me, it sits at the top of the mountain, really, for Rick, although there are many, many others. What's next in front of me? Spring Fever. Again, Rick was just a teenage pop star at this point, but equally the rock star. This is the guy that's already produced Edgar Winter's White Trash and Johnny Winter and Burnt the Candle at Both Ends. But he was definitely destined for a few bedroom walls on posters and stuff. A great, great songwriter. Hang On Sloopy is a remake of that single on here, Still Alive and Well. Some great stuff on that. I mentioned the live version of Jump, 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 and it has to be from Derringer Live from 1977. This other one from the little box set I showed you, I've already held up, Live in Cleveland, is its sister or brother. This should have been a double album. Let Me In, Teenage Love Affair. This is Derringer, which I'm going to point out a couple of albums in a moment. Sailor Beyond the Universe, brilliant track. Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, obviously, Still Alive and Well. I don't know why I said Jump, 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 because it's not on here, is it? It's on this other one here. But what I was thinking about on here is Sitting by the Pool and there's Still Alive and Well. But it's a superb live album. The other ones, have I got them all? I have, yeah. I was just about to do a video and putting together a playlist on 1979, and I pulled this one off the shelf because it's an album that I absolutely loved. And there's 2 tracks on here written by Rick Nelson from Cheap Trick. They're great rock songs. Need a Little Girl Just Like You, and what was the other one called? It Must Be Love, which is a great rock song. But this is pop, rock, great guitars. Rick should have been more of a household name in the UK. He's a massive star in the States. And I'll point out some artists that maybe you didn't even know he was involved in. Another one, If I Weren't So Romantic, I'd Shoot You. This is a great album as well. But my favourite of his solo albums is Face to Face. I felt this was the most polished. It also has a live version of My Hey Hey Out of the Blue by Neil Young. Real powerhouse distorted version of that. Runaway is fantastic. Let the Music Play, Burn the Midnight Oil, some real classic melodic AOR driven rock. And again, this is another album where I thought this is the one. This is going to break him through to the mainstream. But it didn't. And then DNA, the album he made with Carmina Piche. This is superb as well. Also available they're all available on CD. But this was a great album from 1983 as well, with Rick on. And that takes me to 2 albums that I really want to draw your attention to. In fact, there's so many, but I just wanted to cover a few. And this is the one that my friends Brian James and also Paul Cook really pushed me towards outside of the solo albums. And they were the 2 studio albums by Derringer. They're not as hard rock or as heavy as some of you may be thinking they're going to be, but that's not the point. It's the fact that it was Vinny Appice's on this, who went on to obviously be with Black Sabbath later on, Danny Johnson. But it's the songs. The guitar playing is fantastic. Let Me In, You Can Have Me, Loosen Up Your Grip, Envy, Comes a Woman, Sailor Beyond the Universe, Goodbye Again. Great album. And I think this was Brian's favourite. Sweet Evil, he kept saying, Phil, you've got to keep listening to it because it gives up its secrets the more you play it. And it did. Don't Stop Loving Me, Keep On Making Love, Let's Make It, I Didn't Ask to Be Born. There's all sorts of wonderful stuff on this. But again, it's heavy, but it's melodic, and he's such a great writer. Another place where I really realised how diverse and versatile Rick Derringer was with Cyndi Lauper. He's on this album, True Colours, and also another one I've got here, Night to Remember. And something I couldn't find in the rush to do this video, because I've only got it on a VHS tape and I don't have those anymore, and I've always been wanting it to come out. Cyndi Lauper did a Live in Paris concert, which was put out on a VHS tape, and it's a fantastic concert. It's full of energy, and Rick Derringer is there throughout, being Rick Derringer. But it just shows how how clever and versatile he was to let his style of guitar playing mix in with that. He's just an absolute superstar and great vocalist, great backing vocals as well. And what else have I got? Edgar Winter live with Rick Derringer in Japan. That's a good album as well. Doing Business, Rick Derringer, Tim Bargoat, and Carmine Appice as well. That's a great album. And then, of course, there are all the solo albums, which back to the blues. There were loads of blues albums that he did. When he kind of went down that route, I wasn't sure at first because I thought, oh, he's just a guitarist of a certain age. They're all being pushed like Leslie S. towards doing more blues-based albums. But then when I heard them, you realise that it was in him all the time. And of course it was. He played with Johnny Winter. He played with Johnny Winter on some of those classic albums. And Edgar, they came up through blues, jazz and rock. And that's what he was. The genuine article, the real McCoy, literally. An absolutely amazing musician. And it's really sad news to hear that Rick has passed at the age of 77. There is so much music to listen to, and I'm very aware, and I guess I should kind of end on this point, really. You know, well, I mentioned that so many of my favourite guitar players, I suppose they are from that period, have passed on now, and also some of the people I know who mention these musicians to me have also done that. And so it is very important that if you're thinking, well, I will play that, play now. And if you've got something that's covered in cellophane, unopen it and play it. And stay close to your loved ones, and remember that music is the healer and the doctor. Now take care, everybody, and keep spinning those discs and placing Rick Derringer. And it doesn't matter if this is a brand new artist to you. It doesn't matter. And if you are someone who's been buying the records forever, that's great as well. But just play some of Rick's music. And let me know in the comments what you have been playing. And I'm bound to have missed something out as I grab things quickly to do this video. So point those out as well. Let's celebrate Rick Derringer, his music, his vocals, his songwriting skills, everything that he's left us. Take care, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.